on SportsCenter at this hour, the decision has been made by Penn State's Board of Trustees to leave the statue of Joe Paterno standing for now. Sources tell ESPN.com's Don Van Natta Jr. One trustee was quoted as saying, "You can't let people stampede you into making a rash decision. The statue represents the good that Joe did. It doesn't represent the bad that he did."
With that, we welcome you to another edition of SportsCenter. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Steve Union, Sarah Walsh. We are certainly very happy to be here on set. Dwight Howard is certainly very unhappy to be in Orlando.
We know this because he has told anyone and everyone, and yet a solution for his discontent has yet at this hour to be found. Dwight Howard, right now, still a member of the Magic, but it's not for lack of effort on the Rockets' part. On Friday, Houston released Luis Scola. They've offered up multiple first-round picks and vowed to take back even more long-term salary from the Magic, all to get the center, sources tell ESPN.com. Reviewing how this is all unfolded just before the trade deadline, Howard chose to waive his early termination option despite previously requesting to be traded. That was back in March. 3 weeks later, he reportedly asked for Coach Stan Van Gundy to be fired. Howard played just 2 more games before being sidelined with season-ending back surgery, and then in late June, he asked to be traded to the Nets before they pulled out of trade talks on Thursday. Stephen A. Smith with us now. He has been following this Dwight Howard story every step of the way. Stephen A., what everybody wants to know, where will Dwight Howard be playing basketball when the season starts?
Nobody knows because the Orlando Magic obviously are making sure they take every precaution imaginable to make sure that they get equitable compensation in return for his services. They know they're losing the best big man in the game. They're ready to sever ties with him. He's clearly ready to sever ties with them. They just got to find the right landing spot for him, but clearly they're not listening to him because he wanted to go to Brooklyn. They refused to make the deal with Brooklyn. They kept asking for more and more and more, even though Brook Lopez was on the table, Marshawn Brooks was on the table, 3 first-round picks were on the table. They were still finding a way to want more, and they're talking to Houston, and Houston is willing to unload everybody but the parents of the coach and the ownership themselves in order to get him. But unfortunately, it's a situation where Dwight Howard has already made it very, very clear that he wanted to be in Brooklyn. So if you're talking to him about him going anywhere else, he's basically saying to anyone who will listen that I'm not staying for more than 1 year. I'm going to play out my contract. And if I can't play in Brooklyn, then the Dallas Mavericks were a distant number 2 option, even though it's still possible that he could change his mind and decide that he wants to go to L.A., and therefore that would make Orlando very happy because they pull the trigger on a deal for Andrew Bynum in a heartbeat. Then Andrew Bynum comes in, and he doesn't seem reticent and firm, or actually he does seem reticent. He's not firm on the possibility of extending with the Orlando Magic. So they're in an incredible bind. And more importantly, they appear to be weakening their position because in this kind of stuff, the longer it takes for you to make a deal, the more leverage you are losing. And that's the sentiment circulating around the NBA about the Orlando Magic right now as it pertains to Dwight Howard.
When it comes to the Houston Rockets, if he doesn't want to stay in Houston, why would the Rockets make such massive concessions to get him for what would be just 1 season then?
Because if you get your hands on Dwight Howard, one or two things could happen. If you're Kevin McHale, the coach, you believe that you could possibly convince him to change his mind. We can invest a lot of things. Apparently, they're not listening to Dwight Howard and some of the assertions that he